No one ever told you this about social media. You're not the user, you're the product. While you think you're relaxing, catching up, or staying informed, your evolution is being silently hijacked. And worse, you're allowing it. Digital dopamine addiction doesn't just trap your mind, it weakens your soul, drains your creativity, and steals your life focus. And it all feels normal, until it doesn't anymore. What started as just scrolling turned into compulsion. What was once entertainment became escape. And while you're watching 15-second videos, your long-term goals are still waiting on pause. Ever wonder why so many smart people feel stuck, anxious, and unproductive? It is because they re-trapped in a prison that doesn't look like a prison. But today, that cycle breaks. Stay with me until the end. This video will open your eyes. And if it stirs something in you, share it with someone who needs this too. Like the video and subscribe for more content that drives your growth. When everything needs to happen now, the future ends up postponed. That is what you see today. People locked in a loop chasing instant rewards, a like, a notification, a quick story. Social media became a dopamine factory, pushing the mind into constant urgency. But when everything is urgent, nothing is important. And what should be a journey of growth becomes a loop of noise with no direction. It is like planting a tree and pulling it out the next day because it hasn't borne fruit. That mindset is sabotaging dreams, especially among the young. True growth demands the kind of patience that doesn't trend. If you're serious about your evolution, get comfortable with silence, waiting, and invisible work. Instead of opening Instagram for the 5th time today, try opening Proverbs 21. Haste leads to poverty. That applies to money and to the soul. When life feels dull, the quickest escape is digital. Instead of facing emptiness, people run to social media like it's a shelter, full of lights, noise, and distraction. But this shelter is made of glass, shiny outside, fragile inside. Without realizing, people trade purpose for pastimes, passion for pings, growth for entertainment, and time. It slips like sand through the fingers. It's easier to scroll than to confront what hurts. That's why, when boredom hits, the phone feels more comforting than one's own thoughts. But the real way out isn't in the feed. It's outside, in nature, in silence, in small, sacred routines. Try walking without headphones. Try writing a psalm in the morning instead of opening your phone. If your world feels grey, maybe it's time to paint it, not escape it. The logic behind algorithms is strikingly similar to slot machines. Keep you spinning, waiting for the next hit. Each notification becomes a lever. Will it be a like, a comment, a message? That cycle, repeated dozens of times a day, traps the brain in a loop that bleeds focus and mental clarity. The worst part? You barely notice it's happening because it feels like choice. Here is the kicker. Most people forget what they were looking for when they opened their phone. It wasn't intention, it was impulse. A trained habit that slowly hijacks your mind. Want a wake-up call? Try going 24 hours without checking social media. That discomfort you feel, that's withdrawal. And also your first taste of freedom. In that silence, your real self starts speaking again. Digital addiction doesn't just waste your time, it chips away at your self-worth. Constant comparison leaves people feeling anxious, drained, and invisible. When everyone else looks perfect online, your real life feels flawed. And that's the trap. Depression, low self-esteem, and mental fatigue, all born from a false mirror, and no filter can fix what comparison breaks. The more we scroll, the less we speak. Families dine together without exchanging words. Friends interact only through memes. Couples argue over likes. Notifications don't just distract, they disconnect. Try this. Create no phone zones, dinner without devices, mornings that begin with scripture, not scrolling. Relationships need your presence, not your presence online. When your mind is trained on instant gratification, it loses its strength to handle life's hard moments. Real life, with its delays and disappointments, starts to feel unbearable. So people escape into digital bubbles, building a fake reality that always agrees with them. But the real world doesn't have filters. And that's where true growth happens. Many live more in fantasy than in the present. If no, or not yet, causes frustration, it's probably because you've been conditioned by a world that bends to your preferences. But evolution needs resistance. Growth needs delay. Want to train your patience? Do something hard without interruptions. Fast from reels for a week. Meditate on Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time for everything. In a world ruled by likes and clout, people start building idealized versions of themselves. With each post, a curated identity forms, polished, edited, filtered. Over time, even the person behind the screen forgets who they really are. Chasing approval becomes a full-time job, and authenticity gets buried beneath applause. Everyone seems to be living their best life every single day, and you wonder, why not me? Because no one shows their wounds. If you want to evolve, stop editing your soul. Try posting something raw, or better yet, compliment yourself without needing to share it. If that feels uncomfortable, you just found where the healing begins. The mind loses its power when distracted, and to reclaim it, you don't need a monastery. You need rituals. Drink your coffee watching the sky instead of the screen. Walk in silence. Feel the wind. Real life doesn't scream like social media. It whispers. But when you slow down, you start hearing again. Start small. A devotional before unlocking your phone. Journaling your gratitude every night. Making eye contact during conversations without checking your screen. These tiny actions are revolutionary. Life starts tasting better. Your mind detoxes. And the best part? No algorithm is invited. Just you and the sacred now. Independent thinking has become an act of resistance. Social media makes people repeat the same ideas, follow the same trends, and parrot the same opinions. It's a disease called normosis, the sickness of normal. True thought requires depth, and that scares people, so most stay silent and fit in. But fitting in kills originality. Escaping this trap requires both courage and strategy. Pick a topic per week. Purpose, money, identity, scripture. Go deep, read critically, question the trend. Return to Romans 12:2. Do not conform to this world. It's not about rebellion, it's about clarity. Crowds don't usually lead to your calling. Willpower alone won't beat addiction. If it did, no one would be addicted. Discipline is what breaks chains, the decision to continue when the excitement fades. Think of it like a desert. Those first days are brutal, but each step forward reclaims your life. The pain of discipline is lighter than the weight of regret. Want a reset? Try a 21-day digital fast, like Daniel's, but with screens. Replace scrolling with Philippians. When the cravings hit, go outside, pray, write. Structure your time like you would your body, with effort, consistency, and vision. Because the freedom you're after won't come from your phone. It starts with owning your attention again. We chase results like trophies, but real transformation happens in the grind, when no one's watching. The applause fades, the metrics reset, but the process builds your soul. The point isn't just to win, it's to become. Chasing only the end makes life shallow. Loving the process makes it sacred. Every true builder knows this. The work done in silence echoes louder than the noise online. David trained alone with sheep before facing Goliath. Joseph served faithfully in prison before ruling in the palace. The journey shapes the man, and when your focus shifts from performance to purpose, even the dry seasons bloom with meaning. Now tell me, is it really worth it to keep living on autopilot, reacting to everything but feeling nothing? How long will you let social media dictate where your attention goes? You were made to build, to create, to grow. But that requires freedom, and freedom requires discipline. So, what are you going to do with everything you just learned? Turn off the autopilot, choose a new rhythm. Start small. One daily devotional, 10 minutes of silence before bed, a Saturday without alerts. Your evolution lives in the decisions no one sees, but you will feel. Now drop a comment. What's one digital habit you're quitting today? And don't forget, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next step.